All right, I'm starting a journey. My friend Derrick and his wife Anya, they drove me to the border of Poland and Slovakia, and we found the trail. Yeah, right here. And they are going to Romania.
Yes, my friend.
We will have 2 wonderful holidays. Okay, group hug. Group hug.
Group hug.
Thank you, baby.
Thank you, baby.
Well, I got away from the highway, and right now I believe my trail is just over here. And it's very humid. I hear thunder. It probably will rain. Here's an example of the markings. Now this trail will follow, for the most part, the border of Poland and Slovakia. Here's a tower. I don't think I'll get lost. There's pavement, but the road is closed. Let's see. Pretty interesting. But I'll tell you what, it's nice just to be in the forest. Well, this is going to be a very wet trip, I think. I didn't get that far. I didn't camp near water. And I guess I'm just thankful to be set up before dark. It's really humid. Everything's kind of wet, but I brought a tarp, which is nice. It's draped above the tent area, and my backpack is under the tarp. And now I'm just gonna crash.
Quite dreary this morning, but I'm dry in here, which is pretty amazing.
That's where I camped it last night. Man, so happy I brought this tarp. The front end of this tent stays pretty dry. There's the rain fly in back that's only a corner, so I wanted to make sure the back end was covered. And this tent is so small that I have to keep my backpack outside, and so now it stayed nice and dry last night. That was the fog lifter, that delicious cup of coffee. And looks like the fog is rising. Great news, I found just down over here a spring, the beginning of a small creek, which is great. I don't have to worry about water for the first half of the day. I can wash my pots here and fill up one of my bladders with water. This trip is kind of an experiment. I'm carrying the most food ever because I have no obligation to go back. The only trick will be getting back to Lublin. It's, you know, almost 300 kilometers away. And I'm in Poland. I don't speak Polish. I have 100 zloty. And in this package is my hitchhiking sign. And I hope my hitchhiking karma comes around, because I've taken people on rides before. So I'm almost done packing up. I'll get some water and check in later. I'm totally soaking wet. There's water in my boots. I can't stop for more than 10 or 15 minutes and then I get cold. But I had to stop and get the camera out. It's against my better judgment, but this is a pretty cool little fellow here. I can't believe this camera's staying dry in this bag. Fortunately, it's not cold. Things are pretty darn dismal right now. I took a break because I wanted to take some pictures over there. Set my tarp up here to get a shelter, and just got colder and colder. So now I'm trying to warm up with some tea. I don't know if it's gonna work. It's been raining all day. It's only noon, 12:30, and luckily I was able to pack up my gear and start hiking, but right when I started, just heavy rain. And all my stuff is slowly getting wetter. I even have things in Ziplocs that are now getting wet. I want to hike more today, and I think if I can get this tea and get this stuff packed up and start going, I'll be able to hike a little longer. Just dismal, this rain and this wet. The trails were horrible. Just like 10 feet wide mud holes. I almost fell in one, face first. Well, I got out of my funk. It was very difficult to break out of it. My fingertips are just getting feeling back. They were numb. And it stopped raining. Everything's still wet. This is the border. I am in Poland, and past that marker is Slovakia. There's many side trails off of this main trail, which is pretty much the border, but they're very rustic, and luckily this one is well worn, well used. This is a good example of how nice it can be. I haven't recorded any of the bad examples of how muddy it can be. Motorcycles ride this trail and they rut out the wet areas, making it very hard to hike through. I'm not sure how far I'm gonna get on this trip. Seems slow going. Well, I'm down at a road crossing. I think it's the only road I cross, and I wish I would have been here to take shelter in that rain. It's warmed up quite a bit. I'm slowly drying out, and things were going great until we reached the edge of the property lines and the hay fields. This is the border right here, and supposedly the trail, but it just was non-existent where the property started up here. And so I guess now the rule of thumb is, I knew this road was here. The rule of thumb is just to follow the fields instead of what is supposed to be the trail, because I got into these thickets with thorny bushes and it just ripped me to shreds here, and that sucks because I hope that thing doesn't fall apart. Anyway, so now I cross and I'm just gonna shoot for this right there, and that's probably the beginning of the trail, and I hope it's marked up there and I can follow it. Hey. Well, I'm getting set up here and I am exhausted. I'm so happy. I was going to push for another location, but I actually heard this water from the trail, and it's always worth checking out. This is the first creek I've found with small boulders and rocks, and what that does, it helps filter the water that is going down. So, and also I've got the sun will be setting this way, and so it'll give me a chance to warm up, lift my spirits, maybe dry some things off. We've got mosquitoes here now. Seems we've had one type of bug or another along the way. We'll manage.
Ribbit. 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 Oh, don't be scared, buddy. I thought I heard something like this jumping around in here. I gotta help him out because he's probably trapped. Oh man, I slept great. Okay.
Well, it's the next day, and I've been hiking for about a half an hour. Trail's well marked. It's a little tough going up and down over these knolls and ridges, but here we have two old cemeteries. And I've passed maybe 3 or 4 coming down this ridge. World War I, and you still have mounds and rows. The other cemeteries were maintained, no weeds. And here is the bell, which I'm a little hesitant to ring. I might wake the dead. I ring it softly. Well, I'm cruising right along today. Nice that it's not raining. It's humid, but this is pretty much what the trail's looking like through here. I've passed through a couple wheat fields, hay fields, straw fields. We have a reserve here. Not too bad. My main concern today is finding water. This is pretty interesting here. It's just a big marsh, bog, and trail goes right through it. I haven't seen anyone hiking on this trail now for 2 days. I saw some traffic on the road that I crossed, and today I saw some lumberjacks cutting wood. That's about it. Everything is still pretty wet from the storm the first night and second day, and you look here, it's pretty dark, ominous clouds. Yeah, I almost can expect to have some rain every day, and if it doesn't rain, well, that's great. Much of my gear is still wet, and I would really like to set up in a dry, sunny location for this evening and the morning to dry everything out. Yep, here I am under the tarp again. That rain that was ominous, the clouds, they blew this way, and now it's just starting to rain. And luckily, just at the bottom of this hill, there's a creek, a really nice creek. And I'm tempted to camp there, but it's only 1 o'clock. I'm really tired, my back is sore, and my feet are wet. They've been wet almost constantly for 2 days. But I'd still like to hike a couple more hours today. But I needed to take this break and get this water, and I set the tarp up to be prepared this time. Well, I came down to this creek that I got the water from, and I decided to set up. Kind of ruined half a day of hiking, but I've decided it's not going to be a marathon. And this I will try to start a fire with and dry these boots and my socks, because it's a big reason that I'm getting slowed down when it's a little chilly and breezy and a little rainy. It just brings my core temperature down when I'm stopped. So I don't know where I'm gonna have the fire. Maybe someplace where I can sit on the log, something small. Yeah. I'll get some of this heat. Oh boy. How are you doing? Oh yeah. Smoked socks. Took about an hour to get the fire to this point. Pretty much anything will burn. All this wood was wet. And it'll probably take a couple hours for me to dry these boots and socks out. What I do is I dry the socks and put the dry ones on my feet and wear the boots for a little while and soak the moisture out, wick it out with the dry socks, and then I swap the socks again. Feels good though. Feels good to have this heat. And it didn't rain again. It's a nice big larch pine tree. Getting things going here this morning, and wanted to point out my fuel for my stove was in America Coleman white gas, but I could not find white gas here. Coleman white gas. I didn't want to have to buy a new stove. So we went to the hardware store, a friend and I, and he helped me find this fuel. Well, it's like this paint thinner. It's called White Spirit, and it's been working just fine. I think it burns a little hotter, but it's working just fine. I'm down to just one pot. I used to have 3, and now I'm just carrying 1, and it's been working out. And my coffee, I just brew right in the cup. I just pour some grounds in. Ah, delicious. And you just let those grounds settle, and it's good to go. So motivation's a little higher today. My feet are dry and the sun is shining. It's probably gonna be a warm day. I hope it's not humid like the last few days. This is about the best long distance view I've had, and this would have been a great place to camp up here to dry my things out. Sleeping bag is still damp inside and out. It's unfortunate. The whole pack is just a little damp still, and of course the forest is still wet. But these are some of the peaks and ridges that I've been going up and down, very similar to this. Just drops over this way. This is very similar to the forest that I've been going through. Occasionally I will see a fir forest. Hello, my friend. What's your name? Yes. I like you too. Very humid morning. Very nice. I haven't seen anyone. I heard some gunshots yesterday, last night, and this morning. 3. Probably a hunter over in this area here. Yes, hello there. Well, look at you. It's a beautiful day. Hey. Okay. A little tight, isn't it? Okay. And then what? Oh, let's see. Yep. Pretty cool. Oh, this may be the best view of the entire trip. Whee! Well, I had to climb this. And probably the views were better when it was built. These trees were probably just saplings. I can only see in this direction. A bit hazy. Yeah, it was exciting. Yeah. Well, I'm at the next road crossing. Trail's just right in here, coming down this way, and I'm still on the border of Poland and Slovakia. And I can see there is where the trail picks up. It's that time of the day when my back is starting to act up. I'm out of water. I think there's some water just around the bend of the road and the trail, so I'll go off this way and drop down through the woods, hopefully to find some water. It hasn't been easy to find along the way because this trail has been on the ridgetop pretty much the whole way. So we'll see how it goes. I can see there's some clouds building up over here. Definitely look like thunderheads. Wouldn't be surprised if it rained again, but this weather here is just beautiful. It's a nice meadow here. Well, it's not really a meadow. I'm sure they harvest the grass and whatnot. This is the nicest forest that I've been through this whole hiking adventure, because you have a mix of all the different trees, and there's some that are very old, 200-300 years old in here. I'm really tempted to stay over here or down in this area. There's a nice old tree. I did get some water by that road, and it was really tough to get to. I had to really earn that one. But if there is some decent water down here, I might stay here, even though there's a good 2-3 hours of hiking and I've still got some energy. My back is hurting, but I'm gonna go check. Well, I decided to stay in this old forest with these old trees. Beautiful big trees in here. Broadleaf trees, fir trees, pine trees. Many 100 years old. But the bugs are horrible. It's like the worst so far that the bugs have been. Tiny ones, big ones, mosquitoes. So I'm set up here. I've got the bug net on the front of the tent so I can kind of chill and have dinner and breakfast and not be bothered by these things. Still trying to dry this stuff out. I should have laid the bag out in the sun when I rested at the road crossing. I was there for a good hour and it probably would have dried it out in the sun. So the water here is horrible. I can't believe I got enough water from just this little bit down here. I'm using a water filter that they don't sell in Poland. There's no water filters in the sports shops. So I don't know what these people do when they go camping. Just carry lots of water, but this is just dismal. And my last source was dismal. I think I'm gonna need to drop down to get some good water. I need to clean my clothes, clean my face and my hands and stuff. But this is a nice wild place, and that's why I decided to stay here. There's plenty of animal tracks. I've seen many big animal tracks along that trail. I had a very big bird land in one of these trees while I was filtering water. I don't know what it was. It was black with some gray and maybe white underneath. It was only for a very short time that I saw it, but every time it moved, it knocked branches around. It was big. Nice big trees here. Here it is, Sunday morning. It's quite early. I got up at 5, trying to beat the bugs. These fellas, there were 2 of them, I think were mushroom hunting. And I said, "Hi, dzień dobry." I think they were speaking Polish, but neither of them acknowledged me. The one guy walked up and they both walked around this side of my campsite. So I have a good plan for the day. I'm going to continue on the border trail and probably 15 kilometers maybe down to a pass where there's a large creek or maybe river, the beginning of a river, that will be a nice place to clean up and wash up and have a good water source. Most likely camp there. We'll see how it goes. This is what the trail is looking like this morning. A little rustic, scared up another bird and got to watch it fly away. Another big bird, maybe even an owl. Well, trail's easy enough to follow, but here I have a nice vista, a viewpoint. Yeah, this bird was probably up in these trees here. It's a view into Slovakia. Nice forest. Some big trees were cut. This was cut not as nasty as some of the clear cuts in America. Well, this stretch of the trail is getting pretty close. Still quite easy to follow. Quite a few people have been using it. I've got these markers still to follow, the border markers, and it's almost constantly feeling like a political hike. Anyway, this is pretty interesting. Most of the trail, I've seen stretches like this, just really sloppy, muddy stretches. But here, we've got a bear track. It's a pretty big bear. Big paw print. This guy, I would not want to meet. These are pretty fresh within the last couple of days, I would think. Today or yesterday. It's the first bear track I've seen so far. I've seen some cat tracks, many deer or antelope tracks. It's the first bear track. It's gonna put me on my toes today. The last 4 or 6 kilometers has been quite nice. Rolling buttes like this, and the trails just very nice. No mud. I've had some wild blackberries that were ripe, just delicious. I'm getting back into some logging. And when there's logging on this trail, these tractors and trucks eventually drive on the trail, just making it a huge mud pit. Nice and breezy now. I'd say this is about perfect hiking weather for August. The pass where I took the photo of the underground train sign was just horrible with these biting flies. Just horrible. And I had to hurry through there. I was so glad that once I got away from that pass and the bugs, they were almost non-existent for the last 2 hours. I have some information that there's a couple of springs along the way on the trail. There's been no water on the trail for the last 4 days. And also, close to my stopping point for the day, there's a store, and I might just buy a couple pivo. Piva? You know, the beer stuff. Well, I've really been humping today. These buttes are just almost straight up and down. A couple 100 meters at a time, maybe more. Which equates to like 600 feet. I had to drop probably 600 feet from the trail down to get some water. And I'll tell you, I hit that little patch of water just perfectly, because it sprang up and then it went back underground. And it was nice and clean, not muddy. My water filter is slowing down. I should have brought the brush to clean it out, because I've dealt with some muddy water here a couple times. It's just a trying experience trying to pump water when you have mosquitoes biting you, and it takes 45 minutes to get 2 liters of water. Yeah, the rain, we had rain threaten. The wind picked up and everything got a little gray and dark, and then it kind of blew over. It was nice to cool off and blow the bugs away. Bugs aren't too bad right now, but I think they will get worse as I get down to that hamlet. All right then. Well, I got my piva from the sklep over here, and Biedronka might be this village. There's some horses over here. So I'm going to be a happy camper tonight with Zuber. Well, I'm wrapping up a great day of hiking. Maybe 22 kilometers, 13 miles, up and down, just crazy. And the payoff, Zuber. The sklep is just up the hill. I didn't go very far. I should have gone a little farther because I think there's some better water. Maybe a quarter of a mile farther. It was funny because I came down here to set up and there's a big animal just over here. And I was making some low noises and I heard it move around a couple times. And I was thinking that it's kind of strange that these big animals hang out around civilization. But the fact is, I've heard gunshots today. I've seen salt blocks set up in remote areas for hunters to shoot these animals. And here, these animals are safe. Nobody's going to shoot around this established area. There's a campground over here with structures. So my trip will last 2.5 more days. I'll tell you all about it when it happens. Well, it was a horrible, horrible night last night. It rained so darn hard that it was just coming right through the tent, right through the rain fly. And now I know this tent isn't waterproof. There's a puddle of water at the bottom of the tent, and the bottom of the sleeping bag is totally wet, which it's screwed because now it's going to be totally wet for the rest of the trip, unless I can set up on a sunny ridge. And so I didn't sleep well. I should have prepared a little better by putting that green tarp over the tent. But I didn't expect rain. It came just when I had barely enough light to put this rain fly on the tent. The thunder and lightning show was a little exciting, but I have a headache from the beer and I didn't sleep well. Now I think I'll make some coffee, get some water, and see what happens. Well, I'm out on the trail. It was really hard getting out of that tent this morning, but it really sucked. There was a huge puddle of water in the back of that thing. I can't remember the last time it's been that bad. Like, maybe like camping 101. But I got out. The great thing about this rain is that there was plenty of water in the little creeks right by my campsite, so I did clean my water filter with a hanky and my finger. I was able to clean the filter and it made a huge difference. I was very frustrated and I just like put the brain to work and I said, well, let's try this, and it worked fine. Another cool thing is I found some chanterelle mushrooms. I got the clue from those mushroom hunters yesterday morning that there's some mushrooms to be had out here. I was taking a quick break and I just noticed them right next to the trail. So those will be in my dinner tonight. I'm very anxious to get a ride back to Lublin from Derrick and Anya. We have been in contact with texting, and I think that they will pick me up in Cisna, which is 2 days away from here. So I've got 2 more nights, and I just hope that that tent and that sleeping bag can dry out a little bit. Quite a nice meadow here, nice viewpoint. You see here plenty of flowers. I think this ridge over here is the one I will be on tomorrow. I think. Really hard to tell, there's so many ridges. They all look the same. I've been eating raspberries. I found 1 strawberry yesterday and blackberries yesterday. The raspberries, they're almost done and they're starting to mold. There's still quite a few tasty ones left, real sweet. I have to go over this butte and maybe 2 more going down, and I think the saddle down between this and this ridge might be where I end up. This is nice here. I'm getting into some blueberries. There's some. They're smaller than the huckleberries I'm used to in the Cascades. I'm starting down into the pass where is my waypoint, and I'll probably get some water. My guess is this ridge is the one I'm climbing tomorrow. It's hard to tell, and this might be the village that I meet my friends at. I don't even know if you can see it right there. So I'm not really sure which way I'm going, but I'm on the trail, and the sun is starting to break through the clouds, but then over here they're still big and black and little tiny droplets are falling. I really want to get my tent set up and the tarp set up before it starts raining, and I probably have another hour before then. We'll see. Well, here's a nice creek. To set up next to. I'm trying to dry this stuff out. This is really bad here. I've got the tail end of the sun. I doubt I'll get much more of it. The tent's not so bad. All of these things are just slightly wet. I'm trying to dry these out to lower the weight of the pack. I have a, I don't know, 1,000-foot climb tomorrow. The pass is right up here. I could hear the water running from the trail. I took advantage of it because it's always important to have the water for the night and the morning, unless you want to carry it. And I just might be carrying 4 liters tomorrow up this climb so that I could spend tomorrow night up there. I might start a fire here tonight because my boots again are soaked inside. It was so close. And then all of a sudden I felt the water in my socks. So we'll see. I'm gonna check this up here to see if that's dry and dead. It's gonna be tough with that hard rain last night, but I might do it. It's already late afternoon, early evening. We'll see how it goes. Today was a good day because I could put on a new shirt and some new underwear. Always kind of brings your spirits up. Smoked socks. Yum. That's my dinner. So surprised I got that sucker going. This first batch of wood here, I don't know, deciduous tree, it just would not burn. And so I grabbed this fir tree, long dead, and got her going. But now I can put this this stuff in here. It's just kind of a slow burn, very smoky. And I'll tell you, this is the first time ever in my camping experiences where I've had campfire and the smoke has just made all the bugs go away. I've never had that happen before in the US. Crazy. I can't believe I'm not being attacked right now. So I've been hustling. I'm very happy with the state of the gear. Still damp. The tent is still damp, but I'll tell you, I've got 2 Benadryls that I'm going to take, and I'll just sleep really hard tonight. Yeah, and then I'll have these mushrooms that I found for dinner. Very nice. Good morning. I think today will be a great day. Slept perfectly last night. Had some coffee, some oatmeal. My boots are dry. This is a perfect setup here. Kind of the triangular coverage of the rear end of the tent and the pack underneath. I wish I had this set up 2 nights ago. Alright, I've got a 1,500 foot climb, probably 4 hours, and we'll be at the highest location of this trip. It's the 7th day of this journey. Yay! I bet on a crisp winter day the views are amazing. This is Jaslo, 1,100 meters or so. I climbed up basically, yeah, from over there and then down in the saddle. And I'm set up probably just in the nick of time. These clouds are just threatening again. It's really nice. There's berries everywhere. I could live up here. Nom 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 nom. That's a nice setup, fortunate setup with the trees and the tarp and the tent. Just in time, I'm starting to feel droplets. It's early in the day yet, 1 o'clock, and I just might go to sleep, maybe do some writing or something. The sleeping bag is still a little wet. My socks are just still a little wet. I have one more pair of socks that I'll put on for the hike out tomorrow, which will only be 2 or 3 hours. It was a great trip. Check in later. Well, the sun has finally come out, drying my things off. The sleeping bag is drying off nicely, and I can see the route that I followed. This ridge here, the pass, was where I camped last night, and I came down this ridge and followed this ridge line probably the whole way that you can see, and off to the left, that's the border between Poland and Slovakia. It was quite a task dealing with those buttes yesterday. Well, now the higher peaks of the Bieszczady Bieszczady Park are visible now. One more way back there. They're about 600 feet higher, 200 meters higher than this location. This is where I wanted to be, and I guess the only way that I would have gotten there would be to hitchhike from the highway or hike another 5 days. My guess is that it would take about 2 more days to get there and maybe 3 to experience those high peaks. But this was just fine enough. I had some great solitude on those first few days. It was very busy up here today. Well, I came out here to catch the sunset, but I didn't know there was this huge band of clouds. So it went down behind these clouds and I missed it. It's quite chilly now up here. It's nice there's no bugs. Way too windy. Pretty nice sky show anyway. This is so perfect because I love the full moon. I haven't seen the moon this whole time on this trip, and that's got to be close to being full. And to have it come out this last night up on this open slope is just perfect. This could be my only backpacking trip this summer, and this is the payoff. I'm so excited. You can see the mist has rolled in. It's the last day of my trip. I slept great here. It was quite breezy. This morning, the sun was shining and it was warming the tent. 6 o'clock in the morning. It was beautiful. And this fog creeped up higher. Maybe it was evaporating from below, but there was a coating of water everywhere on my tent from condensation, mist. It was a great night though. So now I just have a couple hours to hike to Cisna and get a ride with my friend Derrick. Blowing over the ridgetop, and I'm heading down. It was really nice to have this place to myself last night and this morning. It's about perfect. Kind of sad to leave.